welcome to SVL Free News and Views for Wednesday, July 11th. This is Brian About Town, your host. I'm with Mike Fuhrman. Mike, good to see you.
Thanks, it's good to be back.
And we're here at the Greater Statesville YMCA, which is one of our sponsors, and we'll be having a little feature about what they have going on here in the summer. But our other sponsors are Randy Marion, Mitchell College, Fast Fills, Key to Escape, Blue Harbor Bank, and McDonald's of Iredell County. So we got a good show coming up today, Mike, and you wanted to start out with a little bit of news.
Yeah, so we got a few news items today that I thought would be interesting to share. First, something that I thought was really interesting at the school board meeting on Monday night. The mayor actually presented an honorary high school diploma to Ethel Gaither, who attended the Iredell Statesville schools many years ago. For whatever reason was not able to finish and has had some difficulties getting her GED. So the superintendent actually met her at the longest table event, and they got to talking, and the superintendent thought it would be a great honor to bestow an honorary high school diploma upon Miss Gaither, and so they did that at the meeting. I thought that was really exciting.
That's inspiring.
Then two other things, sticking with the school board, they approved a number of administrative changes for the 2018-2019 school year. Principal changes, a lot of assistant principals moving to different schools. They've hired some new assistant principals. The biggest of those is Ellen Gaither was named the principal at West Iredell High School, and she's replacing Gordon Palmer, who left the district. And then just the last news item I would mention is the United Way announced on Monday that they would be allocating more than $1 million to their member agencies and in direct giving for different services and programs throughout the community in 2018-2019. So hopefully we're going to catch up with Brett Eckerman for an upcoming show, but I think that's just an incredible accomplishment for our community. It just speaks to the heart of the individual contributors and the good corporate citizens we have in our community.
And speaking of community involvement, right here at the Statesville Family YMCA, they're going through a renovation, a capital renovation. They've started that. And also, I'm going to be talking to Danny Gathings right here, talking about the summer camp. You still have time to sign up for summer camp and also the after-school program. You said schools start
August 27th for Iredell Statesville schools.
So let's take a listen to Danny. Summer's still going strong here at the Statesville Family YMCA. And I called up with Danny Gathings. How are you doing, Danny?
Doing good. I'm doing well. How you doing, man?
And Danny's in charge of the summer camp here, and you can still sign up?
Yes, sir. Registration will go all the way through the end of the summer. Last day to register is August the 20th.
August the 20th.
The 24th is our last summer camp day.
So if you want to get in one last week before you go off to school, come on here and do it.
Yes,
now,
sir.
that talks about after school. When can they sign up for after school program?
After school registration begins next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday,
the July the 17th. July 17th.
So sign up for after school program. Do you have anything else in the fall as far as soccer or anything?
We've got fall soccer coming up. We've got fall basketball. We've got all of our basketball programs, and we've got we've also have our fall t-ball program.
Okay, so there you go. So there's lots going on here at Statesville Family YMCA. They're renovating, so come out and see Danny and see what he can do for your child, and maybe not your child, maybe you want to get involved too.
Yeah,
all ages.
Yeah, of course we have adult programming.
That's right. Thank you, Danny. The YMCA is more than just a place to work out, Mike, and they do so much programming, not only for kids, but also seniors and all type of activities to get involved. So you need to come by and check out what they have to offer here at the Statesville Family YMCA. Okay, our feature interview today is with Sheriff Darren Campbell.
Yeah, we had a very good conversation with the sheriff. Many people know this is an election year, but the sheriff will be unopposed in November. He was excited about that, obviously, but we had wide-ranging discussion, and I think our viewers will find it interesting.
Okay, let's take a listen.
Thanks, Brian. I'm here with Sheriff Darren Campbell at the Iredell County Sheriff's Office. Sheriff, thanks for joining us today.
Glad to be here. Appreciate you coming over.
You're coming up on, got about 6 months left on your first term. First question right out of the gate, what have you learned about yourself during the last 3.5 years?
I don't know so much about myself as I think the biggest thing is support from family and my friends, that I've understood that I've truly been blessed in my life, especially for the way this term has come and leading up to it. It's a lot. So I've learned that about myself. I guess it's the biggest thing. And learning that the positions and things that I started when I was even the ride-along program, that those as sheriff has come back to help me make my decisions and help us go smooth.
And you're unopposed this fall. That must feel pretty good, like a validation of what you've accomplished during the last few years.
It does. I feel good when I found out that the final date was over and that we were unopposed. I definitely was very happy and thankful that hopefully the people thinks we've done a great job.
But lots of work ahead of you. Let's start with the jail expansion. Obviously, you're not involved in the construction. You were involved in the planning for the jail and deciding what facilities you needed. Tell me what you're doing behind the scenes now to make sure your staff and I guess also the inmates are ready to move in on move-in day.
Well, absolutely. First of all, and I've said it before, no sheriff ever wants to have to build a jail, but our population growth since '96, when this jail was, the last expansion that we've had, is grown, and we're doing so much out-of-county transporting. But I guess really behind the scene is we've stepped up, we've got the positions ready. Our new records management system in the jail is online now, so we'll have that. We constantly stay involved. Mr. Sleevey with the county keeps us updated. Our chief over the jail stays updated. We take tours over, we walk around, we talk to the foreman. So the biggest thing is just being ready for the transition when it comes. I'm so glad that we planned and crossed our T's and dotted our I's well before we put this on the ground. So far it's going smooth. Weather's been a little bit of impact, but other than that, it's going great.
Now, I would have to think that it's going to be a much safer environment, not only for the deputies, but also for the other inmates once you're in the new facility.
And you're right, the new facility, there was nothing, we tried to look at everything. There's two-man housing, which helps us in our operations costs and anybody's work. If you can keep the inmates sort of secured, a lot more, the safer and the more secure you keep the inmates safe for them and for our officers. And that was thought of numerous times in this jail, so it would definitely be more secure. There's no TV, there's no iPod, none of that, no comforts of home.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned, I think you're going to have, is it 28 new deputies positions?
We will probably come on right at around 28 new positions. We will hire those staggered, hire them as we need them, as we bring them on and get them trained. Obviously, the annex will be part of those that come back from where we're housing now. But yes, we'll try to bring them on and get them trained. So anybody that's interested in that type of work, we're always looking for some good people. Okay.
And tell me how you're going to pay for those positions.
Well, a lot of the stuff we've done with those positions starting off is money in our budgets. Through the course of since we've been elected, we've turned back to the county almost $1 million every year. Well, they've been gracious enough to allow us to put that in a fund. It was basically a jail operation fund. So far, about $3.6 million, and we'll use that to pay a lot of the costs, the operations costs of the jail, which goes along with everything. So hopefully we paid that out for a couple years to come, and that we just sort of paid it forward, saving money to pay it forward.
And you feel although the new facility is much larger, due to the savings from not having to house your inmates in other counties, do you have an idea on net savings or net expense going forward?
Well, if you look at some of the expense, if we would have, at the current rate we're going, we forecast out, and we'll use today as an example, almost 60 inmates, maybe a little over out of county. That comes up to almost just a little over $800,000 a year, just in out of county costs. That don't count the overtime for the officers that has to travel back and forth to get them, the fuel, the wear and tear on the vehicles, and the overtime that we pay these guys. And the big thing is the safety, the fact that they're driving through our communities. And everybody knows that you can have a deer wreck, you can have a collision. We don't like taking the chances of having our inmates on the road and exposed to the public no more than we have to. So that has been a constant juggle between the ones that we can transport out and other jails will take, and the ones that we house here for classification. So to answer your question, once we get online, that'll all be eliminated. Hopefully we'll see potential of around $1 million saved a year just in out-of-county housing that we're spending.
Okay. Now beyond the jail, obviously you have a lot more going on. I think there's a perception that, I guess because of crime in certain neighborhoods, that crime is on the uptick in our county. Is that factual, or what do you see?
We see an increase, but I can tell you the first year, uniform crime reportings are always about 2 years to 1 year behind. Our first year when we came in, we dropped almost 200 points. And to take that in perspective and say some places, if you have 100,000 people, chances are 1,600 will be a victim of 7 major crimes. We're down to just a little over 1,300. So that's a very low crime rate. We continue to see our crime rates decline. Just by the sheer reports and being out involved in the community, we hear things are going good.
So aside from the improvement in the economy, which I think you tend to see a correlation, lower crime when more people have jobs and opportunities. What else do you attribute the decrease to?
Well, I think obviously being involved in the community. Every Saturday for me is a day to be out. Every day is being out in the community. We do our church shield. We do our faith watch. We have to reach these children where they contribute to our crime rate. You know, we started first around our area was Teen Academy 3 years ago. We're going on our 4th Teen Academy. We have a mobile classroom here. The only one that I know of in the state. We've had over 10,000 students through that. To build those relationships, I think a big impact, especially in our schools, our middle schools and high schools, is SRO and the relationships SRO have, not just at the school, but on future teen suicides. As adult offenders, they build those relationships. So everything I try to do, the deputies, I make sure that every one of them on Saturdays when they're working, stop by church benefits, stop by visit the communities. We go to birthday parties. That's how you do it. And also, I make no bones. I have an aggressive approach on crime. I want the bad guys to know that we're watching, and you know, sooner or later your day will come. We do the drug roundups, and I want to make sure that we have a strong line in the sand drawn that we're not going to tolerate that either.
You know, you hear a lot. The general public, I think, hears a lot about the big drug seizure on the interstate, or the roundup where you arrest multiple people on one day, or you've had an undercover investigation that yields maybe 10 arrests. Tell us a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes day to day, particularly to opioids in our community, that I think will help people realize the ongoing effort.
Well, I think the biggest thing is to go back to a little bit of what we said is obviously if we can educate, starting with our kids, we understand our children, our schools. Education is a lot cheaper and a lot more economic than treatment later. If we can prevent it, I'd much rather prevent it now as treat it later. So being involved, like I say, the mobile classroom, the school visits, we're almost to 30,000 school visits in addition to our SROs, our elementary and our high schools. So those kind of prevention and those kind of interactions are definitely having, and educate the children about the fear of doing it and what the problem is. Other things we do is like you say, our roundup. We work undercover cases. We're very open about it with the press and the media because we know the bad guys read the newspaper too, and you don't want to say it, but as long as they're not within Iredell County lines, we want them out of here. And the harder and the more aggressive stance that we can take, we're here to help anybody that'll come forward like we did in the last roundup. But selling drugs is not a way to help you on a problem.
Summertime, you would think teenagers are most at risk for maybe going down the wrong path. What's some advice you have for parents on how to stay active and know what their teenagers in particular are involved in during the summer when they have 6 or 7 hours a day where they're supervised during the school year, but maybe they're not during the summer?
I think probably the best thing is sort of just talking to them. How's your day going? What's going on? There's nothing wrong with being a nosy parent as far as your phones, checking their rooms. Make sure and you're right, kids do have a lot more time on their hands. And basically be involved, keep them occupied, know where they're at, stay involved, talk to them. That's the best thing you can do.
All right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time today, Sheriff.
Absolutely.
Any last words, anything we didn't touch on that you want to cover?
I think you about covered it. We've done a lot. There's been a lot in the last 3 years we've done. We really tried to be a network to the community and reach out, and I think it's had huge dividends. We've paid huge dividends, especially with our more younger citizens, and that's what we want to make sure we keep working on, to make sure Iredell County is a safe place for all of us.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Mike enjoyed that interview with Sheriff Campbell, and he talked about a lot of the issues ranging from new jail that's coming up, and that really is kind of a question for me. This new jail, it kind of dwarfs the courthouse now. It's huge out there.
It does, and it's badly needed. It was needed actually several years ago. We've had to pay all these other counties to house our inmates. We've had times when over the years, where inmates have been forced to sleep on the floor, and the sheriff is required by the Constitution to provide certain conditions and for the inmates, and that's what the county wants to do. So it is going to be a nice facility. I'm not sure it's something we should be proud of, but we have to have a 500-bed jail. But as the county grows, we're going to need those beds.
When he talked about those pods, as you see in my little clip there during the show, those pods are very efficient. As he said, he actually saves money, but he's also going to be adding staff too.
Right.
So we'll do that. Okay, so thank you, Mike, for this show today. We're going to be interviewing Brady Johnson for Friday's show. We'll have him on, and also I'm going to be interviewing Brad Borders to talk about reboot in first line recovery. So we'll see you on Friday.
Thanks, Brian.